Hi there, beautiful soul. Welcome back to a session with Grada. My name is Grada Robertson, and I'm a master healer at the Purple House Wellness Center in Tasmania. Today, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt this horrible tension in the solar plexus? That's this yellow area of your body, right in the middle, just below the heart center. This chakra is called the solar plexus. And it's where our ego lives, but it's where people often get a powerful knot in their stomach because stress and overwhelm builds up in our body. And even if we have a good night's sleep, or we might be sleeping well, for weeks on end, and it doesn't put a dent in the pressure that you feel building up inside your body. If that's you, you are not alone, because that's probably one of the most common blocks that I see when people come to me, and I mainly work as an energy medicine professional. So I want to unpack that today so that you can start feeling better and so you can understand what's going on inside your body. A lot of people don't understand that the solar plexus here is to do with your ability to love yourself. We understand that the heart center is the center for love, and that's true. The heart center is our center where we feel universal love, unity with all things. And the solar plexus, which is the energy center just below it, is our center for self-love, our capacity to love ourselves, how we show up for ourselves on a day-to-day basis, is hidden inside the solar plexus. So now that you know that, it makes perfect sense that it gets all tangled up in there and that we show ourselves twisted love. Because, just putting it in a nutshell, when you come into the world as a beautiful little baby, fresh from source, you're all love. You are, because have you ever cuddled a baby? You just feel the unconditional love inside your heart, and it stills your body and it calms you. But then something starts to happen. The baby starts to absorb information from the mom or the dad or the caretakers or the community. And a lot of the time it's interpreted as if there's something wrong with me, or that means I'm not lovable, or mommy is not feeding me, or daddy is not picking me up when I'm crying, or there is like all forms of neglect, because that's just life on planet Earth. And all these impressions create a belief inside your body that there's something fundamentally wrong with me, so I'm not lovable. And that's is the early seeds in our body that start to create what we call self-mutilation programs. And then by the time we're 40, and if I say to one of my clients, just go and love yourself, that's the medicine. Of course, that doesn't work at all, because like most people have such bad self-mutilation programs that's interpreted like go and get drunk, or go and do something else that might feel good, but it's actually deepening your self-loathing or self-hatred that lots of people feel. Even if you're not conscious of it, I am sure there are parts of you that are fighting you all the time on a subconscious level. And those are the parts that I work with as a healer. So does Peter and Caleb, because they're the parts of inside of your subconscious mind that set you up that tip you up, that blocks your success, that hurt your relationship, and it creates disease in your body. And it's just simply because of your childhood and your life. Life happens, the body keeps the score, and our mind, our mental processes, they hide the score so that we can get up out of bed, go to work, do our jobs, show up as good as we are, because our mind keeps everything hidden from us. And I know this only too well. So this session is about self-love, what you can do to create the capacity to love yourself, start the return journey. And I'm going to give you some tricks towards the end of what I'm sharing with you. But first, I just want to quickly go back to the beginning, because I grew up in that type of environment, in a loving house with, a lovely family. We grew up in a very, very strict religious sect. It was called the Secret Sect. And self-love was definitely forbidden. Right? That was a sign that you were in the wrong living in the wrong world and a direct pathway to hell. So that created a lot of confusion in me. But of course, if you belong to a church, you know there are many positives and of that as well. There's all the fellowship and the friendship and the community love and all that. So it's really hard to decipher truth from falsehood. It's very confusing to the body, and the body, because we have such capacity to live with confusion and to live with like half lies and half truths. Some of it we think is not really hurting us. And the recipe that I grew up with was always put others first and put yourself last. That's the recipe, you know, that gets you a highway to heaven, so to speak. Not that I per se was interested in heaven, I was just interested in showing it as the best version of myself. So I moved to Tasmania with Pete, had 6 children. We lived in the back of Beyond, where we chose to live because I wanted to live close to nature and give my children a really wonderful start to life. But I actually modeled the wrong recipe. I really modeled the recipe for disaster because I was always putting myself last. And of course, I instilled that in my children as well. So eventually, when I was around 14, we moved back to Fort, and I was already opening and working in my own clinic. We had a series of accidents, right? So within the space of 2 years, there were like 8 car accidents in my family. I think all the cars were written off. So the universe was really rattling a cage, wasn't it? Because I have a saying, feather brick truck. So the universe wants you and me to love ourselves with a genuine, unconditional love that the universe itself loves us, carries towards us. So I wasn't able to feel that at all, of course. I was just doing my thing, like on a little treadmill. And so within 2 years, yes, my children wrote off their cars, so did Gran, who lived with us. And then eventually it was my turn, and I got hit by a truck when I was a pedestrian. So I was actually outside the car, and the truck came along and crashed into my back, and I had a near-death experience. Now, if you've heard of near-death experiences before, and I'm sure you have, because they're all documented and you can watch YouTube's, millions of people have experienced near-death. They've had near-death experiences, and we all say the same thing. The feeling when you leave your body and you step out of your nervous system is the most amazing feeling in the world, because all you feel is like a deep sense of peace, that everything is in order, there is nothing to fight, nothing to correct. And you're just carried, or I felt carried and held by pure unconditional love. And so I want you to know that is your true nature and mine as well. So I got to experience that for a timeless moment before I came back into my body. So after that, I had to learn to live life all over again. So that is 20 years ago now. And I mean, that hasn't been an easy journey, but it's been very, very fulfilling, because I started to realize where I'd gone wrong. And of course, when I remember sharing that with my dad one time about self-love, and he just scoffed at it because he still believed, that was completely the wrong thing. So there are many of us who never think about self-love. It doesn't matter, it's not on their horizon or not on their radar. Then there are many people who believe it's like the wrong thing. You should always be putting yourself last. And of course, there's a few of us that religiously now work on restoring deep and healthy self-love. Self-love means respecting yourself, having your own back, being your own best friend. Doesn't matter if the sun is shining or whether it's hailing out there, and taking good care of yourself. And that goes beyond a few trips to the hairdresser or things like that. It means like real solid taking care of yourself. And as I said before, self-love is the container for that is situated here in the solar plexus. And just imagine if it gets really tight in there, you become like a tree that's being ring-backed. And eventually, like you snap in half, literally, like you topple over. You're either just always living in the top half of your body or in the bottom half of your body. And I can assure you that most people are living in the top half of their body. They're completely just operating from their head, and this applies to men and women. So healing, as a healer and a coach, I help people to reconnect with the energy flow all through their body. Doesn't matter if it's the bottom half or the top half, and then automatically they begin to love themselves better and make self-respecting choices. So I want you to know that self-love is not selfish. Often people think self-love is selfish because maybe in the past they were hurt or harmed by people that were selfish or that had narcissistic traits, or there was some level of neglect or betrayal. We've all experienced hurtful things like that. But true self-love means you fill up your cup with respect, loving attention. You allow yourself to feel joy when you spend time by yourself. You learn what you love, what is important to you, what you love to do. You give yourself time and attention every day. You dedicate time to yourself. And then you fill up your cup. And when self-love starts to come back in, and eventually, you know, your bank account of self-love becomes, is finished being in the red, and you start to become, you're building up a little bit of credit. All of that starts to overflow in the people around you from a genuine place of happiness, not from some kind of make-believe place, and not from an empty cup. So true healing is, and all the purpose of healing and coaching is really for you to learn how to do that and to love yourself again, and to be really, really comfortable in your body. Peter, Caleb and I work with you every Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. We work with clients. We look at different aspects of their life. So of course, as humans, we have the physical aspect, the mental, emotional and spiritual aspect. We work with all of that. We work upstream, which would be your energy, right? Your emotions, your limiting beliefs, and all the things that are coming from the opposite of self-love. We can figure out what they are. We can do that very easily because we've developed systems that work, and then we can delete it. And then you start to feel the effects downstream. As soon as you love yourself, even say 5% more, your whole life will change. Like people who are harmful to you or negative, they just fall away. You don't even have to call them. They will lose interest in you. And the universe starts to respond to you in many different ways, so that every day you experience absolutely delightful situations that fill your cup, because the universe always meets you at your frequency. And if you're operating on like what I call programs of self-hatred or self-mutilation, the universe is simply going to give you more than that, because the universe operates on its own laws, and the laws are that your frequency is always matched by the universe. So I hope that I make this clear for you, and that you don't need your track moments. But I do know that many, many people experience their own track moments, right? Your track moment can be a breakup, a heartbreak, an illness, failure, losing your job, an accident, many bankruptcy, many other things. So to recover from any track moment, you need to, the starting point is really for you to stay in your lane. I teach everyone to stay in their lane, what their lane looks like, and to start to fill your own body with your own love. So the most common block, like I told you before, is people are fearful that they think they're being selfish, that other people are going to reject them. Perfectionism is another really big, powerful block of self-love, because we've all been led to believe we have to be perfect first. I have to lose 20 kilos first, dye my hair first, get this job first, get a car first. Whatever we say, we need to do other things first before we are able to receive love. That is not true. That is just simply another falsehood, an illusion that you're chasing, wasting time. Just go to the mirror and stand in front of the mirror every day, looking into your left eye, which supposedly connects to your soul, and just say to yourself, I love you. You say that to yourself, and you can say, your presence gives me so much joy. I love to be in your presence. You are welcome in my life. And you just say words like that. You are so welcome. Or you can even say, I am so sorry. That is also feels really, really good to your body. You'll feel a response in your body when you do that. So negative self-talk, of course, we all do that. That's a given, right? We give ourselves 60,000 negative messages per day. Everyone does that, apparently. But so here's the good thing. If you just tweak it a little bit and start introducing a new loving voice, loving self-talk, even if it's not true, it doesn't matter if it's not true, you just start doing it, it's going to create massive change in your body. It's like a soft rain after a long drought. So the inner critic is relentless in everyone. So you basically just have to accept that you will always have an inner critic till the moment you die. But you have to make the other voice of self-love and the voice of your own best friend stronger, right? So that takes repetition. So unresolved trauma, of course, that's a big one. And I always go on about unresolved trauma. If your body is full of trauma energy, that is not your energy. That's other people's energy that was put into your body during a traumatic time. Your body took it on board and now it's creating discord in your body. So unresolved trauma, in my opinion, needs to be cleared. And Peter, Caleb and I can do that very quickly using our own methods and techniques. We can heal truckloads of trauma from your body, and you'll be surprised. You immediately feel so good and so peaceful, and the self-love automatically expands. Because remember, self-love is your true nature. It's actually not something that we have to put in. It's already there. It's basically in the room next door. You've just become disconnected from it, and trauma is the great disconnect. Also, like, trauma causes us to seek external validation, so you're always looking to what other people say and think about you, and it makes you feel good. But if they say bad stuff, it makes you feel bad. Lots of people do that as well. So you can say the words, I return to myself, or I now return to myself. And if you feel other people's energies in your body, you can just say return to sender. That's another really good way. And you can also say, I am lovable and I'm lovable all the time. I deserve unconditional love. You just play with those words. So self-love grows from within. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's like that cabbage. If a cabbage can be growing in the garden and people can put dirt on the outside, but then you harvest the cabbage and you cut it open. And on the inside, when you open it, the core is beautiful and perfect and pristine. And that is a picture of your own heart. It doesn't matter what other people do, say, or how they react to you. That is your innermost heart. And every day you need to spend time getting into your own innermost cabbage, right? So this is a daily practice. It needs to be included like a daily muscle that you exercise. Your body is crying out for you. You're the person you've been looking for your whole life. I always say that to my clients as well. And it's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen in one go, of course. This is a commitment. If you want your life to be better, it starts with one step, and that step is returning to self-love, increasing your ability and your tolerance to self-love. Because here's another thing. After several years, probably already by the time we're 7 or 8, our tolerance for self-love has pretty much gone down the gurgler. I've seen it, of course, in myself, in my own children, and in my grandchildren. Unfortunately, this is just something that happens to us and for us because we're born into what I call a fallen world, or we're born into on planet mind control. And so wrong programs take over in the subconscious mind. And so by the time the child is 18 and now you're a young adult, they need to be told that the return journey for you, the path to success, is applying self-love and learning how to do that. So walking out in nature, doing things that are good for you, that you love, like journaling, enjoying friendships, going to bed early, having a healthy routine, taking supplements, having regular healing sessions, getting to know yourself better, listening to podcasts that are good for you, reading good books, just all quality activities. You need to be able to choose them. And initially there might be some resistance, but you just simply sit with the resistance. It doesn't matter, because that's just going to dissolve after a while. So self-love is also more like self-compassion. So it means you're always there for yourself, whether things are going good or whether you've made a big blooper or a mistake. There's part of you that are able to rise up and meet you and embrace you still. Staying in your lane is of course really important. Stop rescuing everyone else around you, because in the first place you need to rescue your own heart and your own solar plexus. So the solar plexus is like, as I told you before, the center here. This is the center for self-love. This is how we show up in our community. It's very susceptible to peer pressure. And at heart, most adults are still operating from an inner child or teenage center. I'm sure you've seen that yourself. So we have to become our own adult and show ourselves love and compassion. And during sessions with us, we can show you how to do that easily, to make that a possibility. And then you're on your path. The universe will support you, because every time you take one step in the right direction, the universe takes about 1,000 steps to help and support you. But if you are heading in the other direction, the path that you've been programmed to do, which is basically just living on the surface, living from reaction to other people constantly, and being on the hamster wheel, always being busy, being disconnected from yourself, the universe is going to do the feather brick track. You know that story, because I always mention it. So first is a feather, which just means you're getting a feeling you're doing something wrong, but you're not 100% sure what's going on. The brick is perhaps a brick through the window, so it's getting more painful, right? But it's still not painful enough for you to completely mend your ways or do some deep dive into yourself. And then comes the truck, which will be the paralyzing effect on your life. So it doesn't matter, by the way, which part, where you are in your life, because you can always return to yourself and make progress that way. And as I said, the universe is here to show up for you again, because everything ultimately happens for you, not to you. So I wrote 3 books about my journey, like, oopsie, let's see, I just want to show you. So these books contain my story. So that's called You're the Miracle, The Underbelly, which was about a period when I had mental illness. And the last book was called Alchemy of Love, How to Live in Connection with the Universe and Trust Your Intuition. So these are not how-to books, by the way. They're simply my story, so that you don't have to live those stories. And to show you and inspire you that you can get through no matter what life throws at you. You can literally come back from a truck accident and have the best life ever. So my books, they are all available on Amazon. They're bestsellers on Amazon, so you can go ahead and check them out. But also please come and visit the Purple House if you are stuck somewhere, because you don't need to be stuck for any longer, than 1 second. And come and visit us at the Purple House kitchen, where we have delicious food, and you can walk through the forest and my gardens, which I really, really enjoy. And I'm so happy to share my property with you. So thank you for listening. This was a long session. I hope you found this inspiring, to put yourself first, to make yourself the priority, to make yourself the happiest person on earth. And if you need help in this, I'm here to help you. Big love. Bye for now.